Have you ever paused for a second and felt something strange, as if the world was slightly tilted, slightly altered, slightly off? Maybe you entered a room and reached for a switch that wasn't there. Maybe you remembered an event so clearly, yet everyone around you insisted it never happened. Or maybe you had a dream or a sudden flash that felt more like a memory than imagination. Moments like these slip through your life quietly. You brush them off as mistakes, confusion, or a tired mind playing tricks. But what if they are not mistakes at all? What if they are clues? Clues that the straight line of time you were taught to trust is only a tiny sliver of something larger, something layered, folded, and crisscrossed like invisible streets running in every direction. Today, we're going to talk about a possibility that is far more personal than science fiction and far more intimate than philosophy. A possibility that suggests you are not walking through a single line of time, but standing at the intersection of countless versions of yourself. A possibility called orthogonal time. Time that doesn't move forward or backward, but sideways. Stay with me. What you're about to hear may change the way you understand memory, choice, destiny, and the very structure of the life you're living right now. Why do we sometimes feel as if we've already lived a moment before? Not the usual déjà vu where the mind glitches for a second, but something deeper. A sense that things were arranged differently last time. These moments catch us off guard because they don't fit inside the model of time we grew up with. That model says, life moves forward. Events disappear into the past, and the future hasn't arrived yet. But your mind doesn't always agree with that model. Your mind whispers something else. It whispers, "This feels familiar, but not from the past you remember." Psychologists attribute this to memory loops or neural misfires, and of course, those explanations are valid on one level. But human experience is rarely limited to a single explanation. Your mind is a mysterious instrument, capable of perceiving far more than you consciously acknowledge. Think of dreams that predict future events. Think of instincts that save you without warning. Think of the voice inside you that says, "Don't take that road today," and later you find out there was an accident there. Are these accidents? Or is your mind tapping into something beyond the narrow line of past, present, future? The truth is simple. There are patterns in your experience that hint at something larger than linear time, something layered, something multidimensional. Scientists like Einstein hinted that time is not a river flowing in one direction, but a landscape, one you move through, not one that moves around you. In quantum physics, particles behave as if they exist in multiple possibilities at once until observed. So, if matter behaves that way, why would consciousness be any different? Maybe the reason the world occasionally feels slightly wrong is because you are brushing up against another version of the path you could have taken. Another branch, another outcome, another you. Now let's explore the heart of the idea, orthogonal time, or right-angle time. This is not time that goes forward. This is not time that goes backward. This is time that moves outward, sideways, across. Imagine your life as a straight road. You walk on it from birth to death. But what if, on both sides of this road, there are countless other roads, each one representing a different version of your life? In one, you made one choice. In another, you chose differently. In another, events unfolded in your favor. In another, they didn't. You might think these are fantasies, but there are moments, tiny, subtle ones, where your mind seems to remember a detail from one of these other lines of life. A detail that shouldn't exist in your current world, and yet there it is. A misplaced object. A memory no one else shares. A decision that feels like you've already made it before. A sudden sense that you're not supposed to be where you are, or that you've arrived here twice. These are not hallucinations. They are small cracks where the wall between timelines thins for a moment. You are not jumping across worlds like in a movie. You are simply touching the edges of a structure that is far more complex than the straight line your senses show you. Orthogonal time proposes something unusual but comforting. Your life is not one story, but a cluster of many stories happening at once. And your consciousness is the point where these stories meet. Here's something most people don't consider. Your emotions might be the real compass that points toward these alternate paths. Think of moments where you felt an unexplainable sadness, joy, fear, or inspiration that didn't match your circumstances. These emotions appear like sudden waves rising from nowhere. But what if they're not from nowhere? Some researchers studying near-death experiences and altered states suggest that consciousness is not trapped inside the brain. Instead, the brain acts like a receiver, tuning into different frequencies of experience. If that is true, then intense emotions may come from a version of you who suffered something, a version of you who succeeded, a version of you who made a choice you didn't, or a version of you that's living a very different outcome. Your emotional waves may be echoes from neighboring timelines. Think about heartbreak that feels older than you are. Think about excitement that has no cause. Think about sudden clarity that arrives like a message. When you feel emotions you can't explain, there's a chance they belong to a larger field of experience, one that stretches across multiple layers of time. You are not just reacting to life. You are reacting to a field of possibilities where your consciousness is always in quiet dialogue with other versions of itself. Now, here's where the real challenge appears. When life feels confusing, when events shift in ways you cannot logically track, when coincidences pile up and patterns blur, you may feel lost. You may doubt your choices or your identity. You might ask yourself, why does my life feel as if something just shifted? Why do I sense a version of myself I never lived? What am I supposed to do with all of these subtle signs? The problem is not that reality is broken. The problem is that the model you use to interpret reality is too narrow. You are trying to fit a multi-dimensional structure into a single line. Naturally, it doesn't fit. Naturally, you feel confused. But here's the twist. Self-doubt often appears not because you're unsure, but because a deeper part of you senses more than one version of the path. When your inner world detects multiple possibilities, your surface mind feels uncertainty. That uncertainty is not weakness. It's awareness that your life is not limited to one direction. Think about how you make choices. You don't just analyze facts. You feel your way toward something or away from it. That feeling is your inner self reading the structure of those alternate lives, sensing which direction aligns with your highest version. You're not confused. You're multidimensional. Many people describe experiences where they feel guided by something, intuition, coincidence, a dream, or a mysterious sense of certainty. They don't know where the guidance comes from. They just know they are being nudged. If orthogonal time exists, this guidance may not come from outside you at all. It may come from a wiser version of you in a more harmonious timeline, a future version reflecting back knowledge toward the present, or a version of you that has already lived the outcome you are about to face. Think about how often you avoid danger without knowing why. Think about how a sudden idea saves you months of trouble. Think about how one strange decision leads to a beautiful chapter of life. These moments feel random, but what if they aren't? What if they are moments where consciousness briefly aligns with a better version of your story? A version where things unfold with more clarity and less resistance. Not supernatural, not mystical. Just another angle of time interacting with your current one. People often say things like, "My life changed overnight. It feels like I'm in a new chapter, but not because of anything external. I woke up and something was different, even if I can't explain what." These feelings are universal. They may reflect something subtle, a shift from one version of your timeline to another, sideways, not forward. This shift can happen through a major emotional breakthrough, a traumatic event, an unexpected choice, a moment of clarity, or even a quiet decision you've never spoken out loud. When these moments arrive, you feel as if the world around you recalibrates. Small details change. Your relationships feel different. Your own thoughts shift direction. It's not madness. It's not imagination. It's the natural consequence of a consciousness interacting with a larger field of time. You walk through doorways far more often than you realize. Let's bring this home. Even if orthogonal time is real, what can you do with this idea? How can this make your life better, calmer, more purposeful? Here are the simplest truths that matter. First, pay attention to the small cracks in your experience. They are not accidents. They are reminders that your life is wider than the script you see. Second, listen to emotions that feel older than you expect. They may be signals from parts of you living out different possibilities. Third, treat intuition as communication, not coincidence. It is your deeper mind navigating a map you cannot consciously see. Fourth, notice the moments when the world feels new for no reason. These are the thresholds where a shift might already be happening. Fifth, stop forcing your life to move in a straight line. Your path is not a single direction. It's a network of choices unfolding in many directions at once. And finally, choose with courage. When you make a decision out of clarity instead of fear, you naturally move toward the version of life that holds the greatest harmony, peace, and meaning. You don't need to understand the entire structure of time to live a better life. You only need to trust that your consciousness is far more capable than you've been told. If time truly has more than one direction, if reality is layered, if your consciousness stretches across multiple versions of yourself, then maybe the life you're living right now is not the only one available to you. Maybe there is a version of your life where you are calmer, one where you are healthier, one where you are more confident, more aligned, more awake, one where love grows easily, one where your purpose is no longer blurry, one where life feels lighter and more meaningful. And maybe, just maybe, you can sense that version already. Not as fantasy, but as a quiet pull inside your heart. So here is the real question. If you had the chance to step sideways into a better version of your life, what would be the first small choice you'd make today? Think about it. Because that one choice may be the moment your entire reality turns in a new direction.